Omnath.
Yes, Brokkos.
Omnath, it is true that you have evolved, truly, but are you ready for mutate?
Yes, Brokkos. I'm ready for the mutate.
Good, yes, Omnath, because you have to harness the powers of molding and melding to the other creatures to benefit you for the greater good. Yes.
Okay, Brokkos, thank you.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Wow. Thanks, Brokkos and Omnath. That was a great introduction. And yeah, here's Omnath, the Locus of Creation. Here's a little history of Omnath, the Locus of Creation. It is banned in most formats. Specifically, this card was released in Zendikar Rising. It was released on September 5th, 2020. And it was legal in that format for 2 weeks. Yes, shortly after its conception, it was banned a few weeks later. And had a very notable presence in the grand finals, the Zendikar Rising finals. And it won through a deck called Omnath Adventures. So this card is exceptional, right? It is no wonder that it was, kind of pulled out. It was just dominated the format. There was nothing that really could compete with it. In fact, the cards that were associated with it were also deemed unhealthy for the format. Escape to the Wilds and Lucky Clover, because it did have like an adventure theme. So in fact, we do have Escape to the Wilds in this deck. It's just a very good card for this commander. Let's be honest. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this. And yeah, as Brokkos was saying, this is going to be a mutate theme. So yeah, let's just go ahead. And there's Omnath. We can go ahead and read Omnath, that's for sure. Omnath is a 4-color commander. Red, green, white, and blue. It's a legendary creature elemental. When Omnath Locus of Creation enters the battlefield, draw a card. Fantastic. So just by it coming out, you draw a card. You get a 4/4 body, not bad. What else do you get? Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 4 life. If this is the first time this ability is resolved this turn. If it is the second time, add red, green, white, blue. So that ability really kind of sets it apart, right? Where all of a sudden you're like your fetch lands and any of your type of additional landfall triggers for the turn gets you an addition. That's you additional 4 mana of those colors, like basically all the color pie. You're doing some stuff, right? If it's the third time, Omnath deals 4 damage to each opponent and each planeswalker you don't control. So this is, I mean, it could resolve over other turns. If you could even like figure out a way how to make this stuff occur on your opponent's turn, I guess you could, go for that as well. It doesn't just say just your turn. So pretty amazing. After that third landfall trigger, there's no more landfall triggers for that, unless you, like, for instance, if you blinked Omnath back into play for a card, if you had some sort of synergy with that, you could do that. So there's that. There's Omnath, the Locus of Creation, and the thing about Omnath is it you're playing the 4 colors. So cards like Soul Ring, they're not maybe as good. I mean, you could still play them, but perhaps they're not as good as they usually would. But there's definitely cards that you can kind of equalize. And if you're having a landfall theme, there's some very good options, right? So for instance, let's imagine we're just going to go for like an Enlightened Tutor, kind of to act as like our Soul Ring. So this would be like a great turn 1 play. We can go fetch up like a card such as Exploration. And now we're just rolling, right? We can play that on our turn 2 and start spewing out lands and really getting ahead that way. Additionally, some other good targets for Inline Tutor, like if we want to pivot, we could go ahead and find a Vesuvan Duplimency. That would be a great one for our mutate theme. This one's great because all of our mutates will create a token copy of whatever we're mutating on, and they won't be considered legendary, so we can do it over and over again. So you can imagine having like a bunch of Omnaths could be very good, right? Here's Mirari's Wake, which is just, I'm so floored through this card. If you play Brawl at all, or if you're just playing, Commander in normal, I'm sure it's fine in your tabletop, casual games as well. This card is just fantastic, right? And you're going to be doubling your mana on your lands. Whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana any type that land would produce. All your creatures get 1/1. It's just a far out card, and it really gets you ahead. It gets you really going and cooking on your lands. Additionally, Season of Growth, because we're going to be targeting lots of creatures, right, with our mutate synergy. So whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you scry 1. Whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, draw a card. Fantastic. Just a lot of gas, right? Really good, and only 2 costs. The scry is definitely underrated. It's very good. Of course, we have the Great Henge. The Great Henge is just one of those cards that's just, it's hard to, like, you know, feel bad if you have this out. You're just getting a ton of value. You know, you're like playing like creatures and drawing cards based on them, and, you know, kind of getting all that nice synergy. You're getting ahead with mana ramp. You're getting a little bit of life. It just does a lot. Okay, now what's maybe different, you know, from some other 4-color cards, I usually would play, you know, Aragorn, right? And I'm getting away from that. I think, you know, I really like Aragorn, but I really like the way this deck is going into like kind of mutate, and I want to be able to mutate on the commander. That was a real big thing about mutate, is that you can only mutate onto non-human creatures. So that, keep that in mind when you're thinking about the mutate mechanic. Mutate, for instance, this creature will mutate for 3. Whenever this creature mutates, search your library for a basic land card, put onto battlefield tapped, and shuffle your library. So it has that landfall synergy. That's what my mind went to, like, immediately when I was thinking of like Vesuvian Duplimency and you know how to make mutate better for Aragorn. And then it just turned, well, you know, what about Omnath? He's 4 colors too. We can mutate and we can go through like a landfall theme. So I just went with it, and this is kind of where I ended up. So here's like kind of our landfall. Like what I like, I mean, you have to be kind of selective about, you know, the landfall creatures, because you're really keeping in mind your mutate, right? You really want to have the most mutates possible. But we will be playing the exceptional ones, right? Like for instance, the Souza, which lets you play over 2 additional lands on each of your turns, which is amazing. Then you have like the Dryad here, which will let you play an additional land on your turn. Plus it makes all your lands tap for any color mana. Additionally, you have Augur of Autumn to like take advantage of that extra land drop. If you have this on the battlefield, you can play from the top, play those lands from the top, and get ahead that way from that value. Additionally, we want to put stuff into our graveyard too. You know, we're gonna have a lot of fetch lands. We want to take advantage of that. So an Aftermath Analyst is just one of those nice new choices. This is from Murders of Karloff Manor. It's an exceptional uncommon. It's like one of those Splendid Reclamation effects, but this thing will actually act as a creature and it will mill cards, unlike that Splendid Reclamation. So it's like a strict upgrade. So we love that one. Blossoming Tortoise, just another fantastic, you know, builds your graveyard. You can get, you know, be selective of what lands you want to return with it. Also a really good mutate target where, you know, with our Vesuvian Duplimency, to create multiple Blossoming Tortoises, just getting a ton of land drops. It's fantastic. Oh my God, guys, this deck is so fun. I'm telling you, this deck is the shit. Like, and I don't care if it even like loses, but when it goes off, it's gonna go off. Like, you're gonna like have so much triggers. It's gonna be awesome. You're gonna be creating so much mana, and really the primary win con. I get there in a second, but ramming up Excavator, just taking advantage of all those you know, lands in our graveyard. Play them from our graveyard, you know, all the fetch lands, just again, like just acting as like kind of the Augur of Autumn effect from our graveyard. Additionally, Crucible Worlds will do that too. Nice Fallout art there, of course. Uro, just like what can go wrong, like a turn 2 Uro. You're living your best life. You're just getting so ahead on lands. You're drawing cards. It's just a nuts card, and it's kind of like sitting in the back, just waiting to be escaped for more value later on. What a boss. Additionally, we have those landfall payoffs, right? Lotus Cobra, just additional mana for each land we play that comes on the battlefield. Additionally, Nissa. Maybe we'll fetch up an Augur, maybe fetch an Asusa, maybe you know, maybe we'll get one of our Aftermath Analysts. Who knows when it, you know, it's gonna get something, right? So, you know, that's just a nice payoff too. You know, have those 2 land enter the battlefield, and you can fetch up one of those Elf or Elementals. So act as a Lotus Cobra too. What a great card. Here's the Storm Tracer Drake. It's a 2/1 and it's gas. If you want to look it up. It's perfect for this deck. It's gas. I just don't have it yet. Additionally, Ivy, this card is just whacked. it's just crazy with mutate. Man, you could even just do mutate as a commander with Ivy, play Simic. You probably have enough support. Thing is, you won't probably have as many mutates as you would like with an Omnath or like a Brokkos. Even like is there any 4-colored mutate commanders? I'm not sure there is, but there's definitely some 3-color ones like a Luna. We do have a Luna in here. But Ivy, just what a card, and just mutating on the other stuff, and then getting that same mutate effect onto her and benefiting, getting like a double cast with like all the triggers, double the triggers. Just amazing card, right? And then once it mutates on top, it's no longer legendary anymore. So you're just making more and more Ivies, and once especially like a Vesuvan Duplimency, then you can start creating more of those non-legendary Ivies, and you just the triggers kind of just get a little wacky from there. But basically you can see how you're just be like exponentially creating more Ivy triggers, and it could get really nasty really fast. So that's like, the more interesting part about Ivy. So you have like Lord Dracus, and these are our super cheap mutate costs. That's what we love, is like a really nice low mutate cost. So that's why I say we couldn't have this in Simic, because it has the Izzet colors, blue and red. So yeah, we kind of miss out on some of these low cost mutates, but like when we play 4 colors, we get all of them. So we get that, we get the Sea Dasher Octopus, we get the Parcel Bees, all these super low mutate costs. We get the Vulpikeet. These are just really nice low cost mutates. They're just fantastic for us. The Huntmaster Liger, just love all these low cost mutates. There's the Gem Razor, just one of those staple ones. We have the Porcuparrot, low mutate there. And then, this as a baseline, you can have like a Cub Warden, but the thing about Cub Warden is that if we go off with our Omnath, we couldn't pay into that. We couldn't, sink our mana into that because it's 2 planes. So we'll opt for like a Glowstone Recluse, where we could still, if we, are ready to mutate off of an Omnath trigger, we go ahead and go ahead and mutate, and we won't be, mad that we like missed out on mana. So this card is just major. So I kind of just sealed the deal on this, like when I saw this go off, and I was like, okay, this is the deck. I was playing on Brawl, and I thought I was kind of behind, to be honest. I was playing against that new Grenzo deck, and but I don't know. I just kind of stuck in there. This deck kind of grinds out, and all of a sudden, like I had an Ivy, and I had like a Great Henge, and then all of a sudden, I think I had a Vesuvan Duplimency too, and then I basically copied a creature, and then I copied this over Ivy, and then I was just taking out all their permanents like one by one. It was disgusting. So the Sawtust Demolisher with like an Ivy and like a Vesuvan Duplimency is just like, I think it's just, at least in a 1v1 format, it's like it's game over. It will be more interesting to see how this card, like how this deck operates in a four person game, but I'm excited. All right, so then we have like we're always looking for those lower cost mutates. Like the ability would have to be really exceptional to keep it in, right? So we still love the Pouncing Shore Shark, the bound creatures, so that 4 mutate. To draw a card, we like the Dreamtail Heron, very nice. We even love the Cloud Piercer, to even that looting effect for 4, just because it's like a manageable mutate cost. This one is a little more on the high side, but as long as we've had accumulated a lot of mutates when we play an Auspicious Starix, we could get like 3 permanents on the battlefield for free. What a great card. What a great archetype. Then you have a Luna here. There's once again a little higher on the mutate cost, but once we get these mutates again, we're kind of getting some permanents, some free casts. It's kind of similar to an Auspicious Starix, so we love it, and we're in our colors, so it's fine. All right, so now what we've come upon is like kind of our shapeshifter / just drawing cards. Just amazing value, right? We have new Outcaster Trailblazer, great for our Omnath to get that cast, get a couple of draws off of it. I really like this card a lot. I wouldn't really mind like copying it with like a Glasspool Mimic too, and really start operating and really outvaluing the opponents. Oh, the Clever Impersonator, guys. This guy can copy 1 rings. It's really good, right? This thing can copy whatever you want. Ugins, whatever the heck you want it to be. If your opponent has it on the battlefield, it's yours. It's great. It's a great card. Clever Impersonator. What a great shapeshifter that is. There's a Glasspool Mimic. It also is a land for our fantastic game plan. We have the Phyrexian Metaphor. It's basically a 3-costed shapeshifter that can copy any creature or artifact on the battlefield. Once again, could copy a One Ring. Whoo, baby, baby, baby. Spark Double. So this is the Spark Double. This is, we'll copy Omnath. It's fine. We'll have 2 Omnaths. It's going to be great. Here's Ragavan. So now we're coming into like our foundational things. I kind of, with these 4 colors, I kind of have like I emphasize like some mana dorks and always Ragavan, you know, like kind of as our cornerstone. So I think we play about 6 sources of like 1-drops, like with elves, you know, the Delighted Halfling amongst Ragavan. So of course, Ragavan always fits into that nice 1-drop that can ramp us. Additionally, we have the Pilgrim here, a bird for any color mana. Delighted Halfling for that uncounter ability, great for our legendaries. Noble Hierarch to get all those 3 colors at once. Then we go right into our Bloom Tender, which is just a fantastic 4-color commander. Payoff where we're just, if Omnath's on the battlefield, this thing's going to tap for 4 colors. It's crazy. Vapor Elder is similar fashion, so really gives us an edge, like the 4-color madness, right? You know, you don't get access to that Soul Ring so as such, but you get access to, like, there's really no downside, right, guys? Look at these cards. You just, you know, tap for 4, you know, go ahead. You know, and these are so appropriately cost. And this thing is like a 4/4 with Omnath on a battlefield. It's nothing to scoff at. And with Vigilance, it's perfect. This is a sweet new one, right? So this can act as a counter spell. If we wanted it to target with Vesuvian Duplimency to like get 2 copies, you could only have a single target. So you'd only pay the blue into the 3 to have that single card target. Because if you, for instance, if you add targets with a Vesuvian Duplimency, it avoids the interaction. So just keeping that in mind with Vesuvian Duplimency, like, you know, you just want a single target with the spell. That's the verbiage of the enchantment. So, but again, a very cool multifaceted card. We have the 3 steps ahead to perhaps counter something, create a token, which we want like a copy of like things. We want to copy stuff, right? We want to have that synergy. So it kind of meets all that criteria at once. And then draw 2 cards and discard a card, maybe if we need to find some gas. Okay, now we're getting into our sorceries. So we're going to have like an abundance of like the multi-phase cards, which is nice. Play a lot of those in this deck. So Maria's Call, Turn Burst Symbiosis, Shatterskull Smashing, Seagate Restoration, Escape to the Wilds, like I mentioned, is one of those fantastic cards where we'll be able to play an additional land. So it works really well with Omnath, and we get to sync our mana, you know, because we're going to have an abundance of mana with Omnath. So it's important to have, you know, cards like Escape to the Wilds where we have a lot of choices and add to our, like, our, you know, hand, our, in a less permanent way, where these are just, you know, kind of in exile for a turn. And then we just want to probably play most of them or the ones we need and then move on. All right, here's the Ballad Get Recovery, this great multi-phase card where we can act as a land, or we can go return a card from our graveyard to our hand. Fantastic. And we're going to be building that yard. And the rest, guys, is all lands. So these are all lands here. So we'll just kind of, yeah, that's nice, huh? So yeah, we have just like kind of, these are all in alphabetical order. So there's just an abundance of fetch lands here. So we have like all the fetches. We do have the new Surveil lands. We have, I think, 3 of them. So I'll be acquiring those. Those are great. Build our graveyard, give us like a look, you know, at other, you know, at what's coming next. So they do like multiple things that we need. Then we have like all our shock lands here. We have our triomes, have, you know, just more fetches. And then we have a couple of these too, right? You know, these are the ones that we can sacrifice. That when they enter the battlefield, they just become sacrificed and they go fetch a basic. So they're, you know, they trigger Omnath immediately. So we love these fetch lands so much. Then we have like the perfect like prismatic vista along with the Fable Passage. Once again, this one's obviously the most expensive one, but I got some beautiful full art lands in here. I'm very excited. We have all the channel lands in here. Have a bunch of basics, right? I think we're playing like about 16 basics, so we'll see. I think it'll be fine. I'm not too scared about it. I mean, there might be times when we just go through them and get them all out, but, you know, we'll see. Hedge Maze for the Surveil, Shocklands here. We have probably more on the forest side than anything. So just because we have a lot of like 1-drops that require forests. And then we have just so many good lands here. Here's some Surveil lands again, Command Tower, the Cabaret Courtyard. Then, I think you could opt for the sacrifice lands, but I don't have all of them. Like there's like the Obscura Storefront, for instance. So we'll give the Evolving Wilds and the Terramorph Expanse. This should be fine because you could even hold them up. You don't have to sacrifice them. So if we want to like maybe save a trigger for Omnath later, that might be the choice. But I'll let you know how it goes. There's Fabled Passage, Igandro, and there's our channel lands, and then some more fetches and shocks. So all in all, there is, I believe, 52 lands here with multi-phase cards. So I think an appropriate number for landfall. I was very, anti like really pulling too many lands out once I was getting to cuts. So I think we arrived at a very safe number. But guys, this is the deck. And I hope you all have a great day. Goodbye.